Where's the bang bang, Preston? Come on.
I can't breathe.
Pub Sports Radio. Come find us in Southtown 101. Subscribe on YouTube and all platforms where podcasts are found.
Welcome to Pub Sports Radio, baby. NCAA Net Profit. It's January 24th, Monday, Max. And I'm glad to be here. How are you doing, my guy? How is Toronto treating you up there in Canada today?
Well, Toronto's pretty snowy, but like I was saying backstage to Big Show, this is what Toronto winters used to be like. So seeing we get like 7 or 8 inches today alone, it seems normal. I don't like it, but I don't really have a reason to go outside except to buy food, visit ladies of the night, or receive envelopes of money from Gus's girlfriend. I did not receive any envelopes of Gus's money this weekend, so I'm very upset right now, Connor. I want some chicken tenders. I want to dip them in some honey, and I want to attack this abnormally large Monday slate. It's like the schedule makers gave this Monday, which is usually a little more modest, a wolf blood injection, and now they're ready to fuck with their eyes open all over the place. We got YMCA basketball with the SWAC tonight. We got freaking prestige basketball with Texas Tech and Kansas. It is a fuck with your eyes open type of slate, and you got to be on Pub Sports Radio to understand that saying, learn by it, and definitely try and live by it.
Yeah, you're right. I think maybe it already was a little bit bigger than a normal Monday, and of course, all the cancellations we've had in the last month or more.
I'll say this, Connor. 41 games scheduled for today. We even got an extra. So every game is playing. Every team that was supposed to play today is playing today.
I like to hear that. It is good news. Always good news. Real quick, I'm going to get to the chat in just a second, but let's get right to it, Max. Let's get right to your line moves, my guy. Let me tell you what has caught your eye from last night till right now, 5 o'clock Eastern, sides and totals. Hit me with it, brother.
Yeah, listen, I think that we have to start with the Florida-Mississippi game where we've seen line moves towards the under and Mississippi. I think that they are definitely one of the popular dogs on the board today, and I'm hoping that they can come through sort of like Tulsa did, except Tulsa didn't win the game because they had a destructive second half when it comes to their shooting. I think when we look at another game, Belmont and Eastern Illinois, we have seen Belmont go as high as 26 and the total go from 136 and as high as 140.5. So there is a lot of different numbers that you can get on that total. So you have to be careful in line shop to get best value. When we look at a spot that we've seen a little bit of line movement on the side in total, we have to look at Towson and Delaware. With Delaware, they've gone from a pick'em to a 1.5 at most high, at most 2-point favorite, and the total's gone from 142.5 down as low as 139. I think that when we've seen some of these games in the 120s, these are very hard games to resist betting overs. And with the Louisville, Virginia game, we are seeing none of that temptation. So the number has been hanging around 122.5 and 123. Thought that'd be interesting to bring up. I think that when we look at another game that we've had, I guess, some significant line moves, I think that we have to go and look at that Texas Tech Kansas game. I think that every point is going to matter right now in the range that the line's at. We saw a line open at 140.5 and go as low as 138. And in a game that is definitely going to be pretty sought after, defense is going to be at its best. With St. John's and Seton Hall, Connor, we have seen a 2-point line move in favor of Seton Hall, in favor of St. John's, and we've seen a 2-point line move in favor of the under. So that's very interesting, with this being the second game, I believe, that they play. We have seen some line move when it comes to the right-in game in the Summit League. We have seen that line open at 151 and then move down more than a point. So that definitely goes towards that Josh Applebaum rule of when a total in conference in the 150s and the number goes down more than a point, that is a 60% under. So that's the way that I'm looking towards that line. And that's pretty much it for the main board. Everything else is on the added board. And I think that with this type of slate on a Monday, it's more important that we get into the games and we can go through the line moves as they're brought up from questions from the best fucking chat in the game. Pub Sports Radio chat. We be pumping.
Best chat in the goddamn game. No doubt you said it, Max. Shout out to Real Deal Prime, the grinder. Here he is, first in, grinder. Polly Walnuts, Craig Wood, Sam Colmer, Hector, what's up, my guy? Peace, what's going down? Coco Bongo, T-Mac in the building, Bill McHugh, Tiffany H, Jake, tons of Jakes. Rodney Barton, what's up, my guy? Joey Collier, what's up? Rez Mob, Nut Flush Down, Mike, what's up? Great hit on the golf guy. Shout out to TJ who gave you that with Hudson Swafford. I got to give you a congrats on that, my man. Canes Nation, Trans, my guy. Trans Canada, Beaver, what's going on? East Woodmore, Dan Kelly, Saturated. Here we go, Max. What's up, my man? Justin T, what's going on? All right, Max, let's get right into it. Let's get to the goddamn games. That's what everyone wants to hear. Lafayette versus American. Americans laying one, total 132.5. What are we looking at in this one?
Yeah, listen, I think that with Lafayette, I am the Patriot League governor. That's why it's on my goddamn game slate. I love American. I love the fact that they're finally healthy with Stacey Beckton Jr., Conor Nelson, Colin Smalls all in the lineup to go along with like Marvin Bragg, Mark Rogers. This team has players. The X Factor, I've said it since the beginning of the season. Now, hopefully, he can get a little better freaking looks at the bucket and not be more of the focus of the defense is Johnny O'Neal. The sophomore definitely is having a sophomore slump of a year, in my opinion. But now everything's Hakuna Matata. Everything is restored to the way it should be. And this is an American team that has to get off to a good start. When they're making jump shots, that's when they're at their best. They take good care of the basketball. This is a group that definitely has to work some issues out at the free throw line, but having Nelson and Beckton back, that's going to bring up that freaking number heavily. I think that at the end of the day, this is a group that I have a lot more faith in. And when I look at my number, this should be a 3-point line in favor of American. I don't know why it isn't. I'm going with my number, and I took American in this spot.
Just full game, just to win. Laying a point?
Yes, just because sometimes they get off to slow starts. And another thing to definitely point out, Lafayette is no stranger to the comeback. So if American gets up big in the first half, that's when I'm going to get really worried because I've watched Lafayette come back.
Yeah, okay. Let's get to the second one. South Carolina State versus Delaware State. Holy shit. These teams are pretty bad, especially Delaware State. Can you trust South Carolina State to lay the 8.5 here, Max? Total's right at 140.5 around there. You like them here?
I think that if there's a reason and a chance to do it, this would be the opportunity. We have undisclosed injury status of players, which obviously irks me. However, my number definitely gives me that 2.5 points of value to warrant the spread bet that I made. And I think that when you look at Delaware State, Dominic Fergala not being in the lineup with his 13.8 points per game, that's a big loss if he's not going to be in it. It puts a lot of pressure on Miles Carter, and they're just getting Zach Kent, I guess, back from injury. I'm not even sure what the hell the deal with him is. But the 6'11" senior definitely can play a big role in this game if he's on the floor. Not to mention, they also got John Stansbury back, but he hasn't figured out his 3-point shot or his free throw shooting yet. So I don't think that he's a big threat. At the end of the day, this Delaware State team has not been cashing you tickets. The last time that they cashed as an underdog of any sort was their game against Delaware. I'm just going to continue riding what's been working, and what's been working is fading the fuck out of the Hornets. So I'm all over South Carolina State.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Delaware State can't cover against anybody. It was almost like that game against Delaware. It's like maybe they got up for it because it's in-state, or it's just like they felt pity on them. Delaware was like, we feel so bad for you. We let you hang around Delaware State. Because you're right. Since then, they've been horrible. Yeah.
Just an update, Connor. We do have a game live that will be taking away my attention at times, but because you have such good control of how I behave on this show, I do think that you're going to be able to pull me out of it. So if my head starts to go like this, feel free to freaking snap the whip and be like, hey, smart,
Matt,
wake up.
Smart. Hey, smart. Get right out of your ass. All right. Let's get to your third one here.
Absolutely.
San Diego, Santa Clara. Interesting game. Santa Clara's laying 8.5, 9. Total 144.5. What do you like here? I'm interested because this, to me, was just one I'm off, but I can't wait to hear what you have here.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm very enamored with this game. I think that when you look at Santa Clara, Connor, let's remember, if an offensive player of the quality of Joseph Vrankic has a bad game, are we really going to fault him against the St. Mary's defense? I'm not going to. I think that with San Diego, they have an opponent that they can really have a fun game against. I think that the key for San Diego is the fact that Jace Townsend is back. He only played 17 minutes last time out, but he had 7 points and he had freaking 5 fouls. So he definitely needed a little game conditioning. But I think that when you add him to this team, now you're back to what we had before in non-conference. A very dangerous, if not legitimate, top 5 3-point shooting team in all of college basketball. What did they do in his first game back? They went fucking 8 for 17 for 47%. That is the kind of San Diego basketball I want to see. That is the kind of San Diego basketball that I want to bet team total overs on. Over 67.5 is a fantastic number in this game because we got Santa Clara going from the defense that they had to deal with from St. Mary's to a little more loosey-goosey at times. Not a fucking backdoor sieve defense, but a little loosey-goosey at times. And I think that Santa Clara, they're going to have all the options. They just got to focus on scoring early in the shot clock, not getting bogged down in the half court, and then that's going to provide San Diego all the extra possessions that they need to get up and over the 67.5 point. I think that as long as we don't get fucking a Washington performance where they score 13 points in 20 minutes, it's a reasonable ask, especially against Santa Clara coming off a loss in a game that they did not look good offensively, and that's just not going to sit well with them. So, I like San Diego's team total. That's my favorite spot in the game, Connor.
Okay. Yeah, Santa Clara just doesn't seem right since they kind of played well early on in the year, Max. But you're right. Since he's been back, I mean, San Diego's played well as of late. They beat Portland, Loyola. They lost by 8. They covered against BYU on the road and then went to Pacific, handled them. So the points are interesting to me here a little bit at 9. So, yeah, that interests me a tad bit. All right, let's get to your fourth one here, Max. SIU Edwardsville here. Sorry, I have to pull it up. I bet I didn't have your fourth one on here. Who are they playing?
Pardon me?
SIU Edwardsville. Who are they here? I got up. Sorry, I'm in.
UT Martin.
Yeah, UT Martin.
UT Martin. Sorry, I've got to pull it up. Total 146. They're laying 1.5. Is Martin? What do you have here?
Yeah, listen, I think that when it comes to UT Martin, they definitely have a really nice freaking foundation after having just a really tumultuous season. Their coach passing away, their star player freaking being the son of the coach leaving the team. But I think that they've really rebounded nicely, and that's because of one guy, and that's KJ Simon. I think that the key for this UT Martin team being valued as a small favorite, especially at home, is being healthy. Having KK Curry back in the lineup, having Josh Endicott recently coming back from injury, that is a big deal for this team, and it allows KJ Simon to give you that mid-range production, taking the ball when you need a bucket most. And that's what I like about this group. I think that with Bernie Andre coming off the bench, I remember him from freaking his Big Sky days, and he's coming back to form. Coming off a double-double and 17-11 off the bench, he gave UTM a really good shot of beating Murray State in that game, and that's why they're able to cover the 22. I think that he's the X factor for this team. They got a great foundation when we're talking about personnel and fitting the scheme. I think that with an X factor like Bernie Andre, who's given you a bunch of double-digit scoring-like performances, we just need one of those in a winning situation. Being at home, coming off the Murray State loss, yes, there is a case to make for a situational letdown. I don't think so. I think it's a win, and I'm rolling with UT Martin.
I agree with you. I've had UT Martin 3 or 4 times, Max. They've come through for me. If I were to bet this one, I'd lean with them. Shout out to the chat before we get to your last one here. North Ender joined us. Nathan Serna, Molly Mall, what's up? Not Flush, everybody. NBA Talk, what's up, my man, J Money? Yeah, Max's next one. We're going to get to that game, actually, that you just said. I agree with you there. I wanted to get a couple questions. What about that over in the San Diego game, Max? Santa Clara, real quick for Nut Flush. Yeah,
I think that's definitely a spot that would correlate with the team total over.
Yeah, I think so, too. I don't love that it's 144.5, but I lean that way. I'm more interested in the points. What?
Yeah, if it was in the 150s, then I'd be a little worried. But we've seen a lot of freaking situational spots where Santa Clara's been able to put up 80 or 85. I think that, they're just coming off the roughest stretch in the conference that they're going to play against with St. Mary's and Gonzaga. I think that this is a get right spot for them offensively and to just win a game.
Excellent. All right, let's get to this next one, Max. The big one, Texas Tech, Kansas. Kansas lane 7.5. Like you talked about on the line move, it's come down a little bit from 140. I had this under 2 weeks ago, the Saturday, and it just crept over. I would have been on the under again, and it's already come down. Like you talked about, 2 points almost to 138 here. There's some 138.5s. What do you like in this game? Kansas lost to them. They get right laying this number. What do you like? Side total? Let me know what you like here.
I have to look towards the dog. The injury issues are just like the big thing for me. I want to know who's available before I actually bet this game. When I look at Texas Tech, Texas Tech plays that positionless basketball, but what are they going to do against David McCormick? David McCormick is going to make or break this game for Kansas. With him, he just I don't know. He just stands out and wins. I will say this from when I watch him. I think that when you look at his development, that's key. He has to fix his issue with the free throw line. If he's going to go 1 for 2, that's something that can be used against Kansas. Obviously, when we talk about Kansas from an offensive perspective, if it isn't Abaji having a big game, I don't know how they freaking cover this number. That's what I see. If Abaji has a career type game, a 30+ point game, with the way that he's shooting the three, the way that he is able to get to the rim, it's just like college basketball looks a little too easy to him.
Yeah,
it's a tough Kansas team to go against.
Yeah.
However, Mark Adams is the coach to do it. So.
You're right, and because it's been tough for Tech. I mean, they already beat them. I mean, I don't think they've ever beat them, swept them, and I could remember. I mean, someone have to look that up, but at least the last 25 years, yeah.
They win with defense. They're not winning by freaking out shooting you, which is something that a lot of opponents have had to do against Kansas.
But Kansas, on the other hand, I mean, that just threw me off that game. Shots were just everywhere, especially the first half. That was just a ton of points in that, the K-State game. On Saturday, I was just shocked. Kansas has kind of been an over team too. That's a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that when you look at the maturation that we're seeing right now from Clarence Nadolny, when you're seeing freaking Malik Wilson coming back from injury, Daniel Bacho's maturation, Adonis Arms being a little guy that if he's on the floor, you got to worry about him going to coast. He's not looking to pass the ball. He's looking to get right to the rim the way that he played at Winthrop. It's just so many different pieces that Coach Self has to game plan for, and I just don't know how he does it. There's literally 2 5-man lineups that you can play at the Division I level and win within Mark Adams' roster.
Yeah, interesting. Does Kansas get revenge? Perfect number, the old 7.5. I mean, because I lean to points with Tech. It's just not one of my craziest picks, but excellent info there, Max. All right, you are done. Let's get to mine, and we'll get to the sponsors and then get to the rest of these games. So I want to get through them. All right, my first one here, Max. This is an interesting game. UNC Wilmington. I think someone brought it up in the chat. Northeastern. People thought the line was fishy. Northeastern's laying points here, 2.5. You know, Wilmington, I took them with the points. I didn't think they beat Towson. They did on Saturday. I lean them here 2.5, but for some reason I like this over. No one knows in the chat's not going to like my overs here coming up. I think these games, I do like some unders though. No, shout out to your unders. I think this game gets over the total. Northeastern laid an egg on Saturday with Hofstra, 72-50. Here back at home, I think they shoot better. And a team that struggled all season was Wilmington to score, have been regularly their last games, this winning streak, 81, 71, 86, 73, 70. We don't need a crazy score, Max. I just need over 132 here, 132.5. And I think we can get it. What do you think about in this good game here, Wilmington, Northeastern?
Listen, I'm not opposed to taking this Northeastern team at this short number. I think that when I look at Northeastern, you know, I obviously have a little bit of bias with their Canadian-filled roster. However, I do think that if they're healthy, they do have a lot of different looks that they can throw at you. I like the fact that Glenn McClintock, he's back from injury. I like the fact that Jason Strong, he's back from injury. Chris Doherty's back from injury. So you understand the tone of my reasoning is now we're seeing Northeastern at their closest to healthy, and that gives them some appeal to me, at least as a small home favorite like this. I think that the fact that we've seen Wilmington cash these tickets and make us some money as a 7-point dog or a 9-point dog is maybe giving us a little bit of a lead along to an alley with a lady that doesn't want to give you a hand job. She wants to rob you. And I don't want to go into alleys like that, Connor. I don't want to go into alleys like that.
Yeah, so that's why the side is Northeastern. And one thing, Max, before the game against Hofstra, 10 straight overs. You talked about on Saturday. Then they only score 50 points. I think they bounce back and shoot the rock better here at home. And that's why I thought 132 was light. I don't think they score 50 again. I think they're back in the 70s, and we can get this game over. Yeah.
Well, get to the free throw line because that's where you do your best offense.
Yeah, 10 straight overs before that, and they are a lot higher totals than this. All right, let's get to my second one here. South Dakota, Western Illinois. I think this is an interesting game, Max. You talk about Abbaman is 150 and it goes a little under. This one's took in the under to it was 151, 150. It's come down to 148. I don't see it though. I'm seeing a bargain at 148. I'm on the over here. These two teams are just up and down in this conference. And I don't really trust Western Illinois laying the 5.5, 6 on the sidewise, but I'm just all over this over. Give me the over. Both these teams are just up and down each game. I just was on South Dakota's. I was on Western Illinois'. I see more of it tonight. What do you think here in the South Dakota Western Illinois game?
Listen, I got a soft spot for Western Illinois, even though the Leathernecks have a poor choice in uniform color. I think that when you look at this group, they have a ton of size when it comes to Will Carius, when it comes to Luka Barisic, Tamil Pearson, fellow Canadian of mine. I like it. I like how this team plays. George Dixon brings a level of toughness off the bench. I always worry about scoring, but Trenton Master, the Northwestern State transfer, he's been able to put up some pretty big outlier games. The bottom line is this Western Illinois team is going to dictate what scoring tempo this game goes at tonight. And while it definitely seems like an over, I feel that when the line came out at the 151 and I play that Josh Applebaum under conference rule religiously, I had to grab it. I think that obviously with college basketball, especially yesterday, tales of two halves were everywhere. I would not be opposed to hedging a little with the first half over. However, I'm still going to ride the under, and if I take the loss to you, Connor, I'm probably going to have to bow my head in shame once again. But that's nothing new.
You're right. The conference we can get an under, but this is a conference that just doesn't play to unders. And Western Illinois last 7, 6-1. South Dakota can play a little bit more to the under, but they've been over 3 straight. So I saw a little bit of value. I know it came down, but with these two, I'll take the shot tonight with the over. All right, let's get to my third. Winthrop High Point. Winthrop's finally been playing good basketball, Max. They've won, I think, 6 in a row, 5 or 6 in a row. Gritty games, all these games, and they've run 3 of these, I think, on the road, all less, and they didn't cover. They're 0-5 ATS. I think this is a crazy tight game, but the only problem was with High Point, I wanted 5.5, 6, and I'm only getting 3.5. They've played better basketball at home, High Point, all year long. They've played close games. They've lost by 4, 2 or 3 times, Furman, a few other teams. So at 3.5, it's a perfect number here. So for me, it was just a lean. I needed a few more points. I'd be all over High Point. So yeah, just a lean with High Point plus a 3.5. Did you have anything in Winthrop High Point?
Yeah, for me, it's never gonna be take this group on the road as a favorite. I'm sorry. I think that they could win the game. I think that if they are going to win the game, it's going to be really close and it's probably going to take minutes off your life. I think that there is definitely some value if High Point can score the basketball early against Winthrop and force them into a highly offensive game. However, we have seen opponents and Winthrop specifically play a slow down style, at least the last couple games. I think that the number definitely was a little higher in those games. But the Presbyterian game rings to mind, and that barely got to 100. So for me, I think that it's all about High Point trio of Zach Austin, Jaden House, and John Michael Wright scoring the basketball, and Tubby's defense being able to freaking do something, because against Winthrop, they have a lot of different lineups they can throw at you. They can play slow, they can play fast. You just have to be able to play within yourself and make your shots. And High Point obviously has had some big trouble doing that. Being at home, though, maybe we get another North Carolina A&T performance. So that's what I'm hoping and counting on.
Yeah, they played better at home. If it was 5.5, Max, like this would be full one of my best looks of the day. I just at 3.5. I still like it, but it's more of a lean, or I'm going to have a small play on this one. All right, let's get to my last one. It's the last game on the board. UNLV, San Diego State. This one I'm going to wait on as well. But I think 10.5 is too much. I know San Diego State's going to be pissed off, but this team was off for 3 weeks, Max, and only put up 37 points. They lost 42-37 versus Boise. They didn't look right. There are bricks everywhere. Bradley, obviously, they can still play defense. That's why also on this total, I just don't love that it's so low. I think they shoot better tonight. Whether that gets this over, I don't know, at 126.5. So I lean under here, but I think almost catching 11. I wanted 11.5, but at 10.5, I got to lean the Rebels. The only problem with UNLV is they struggle on the road. Like you and me called that Air Force loss. They always lose in Air Force. That was kind of just their normal thing. But I'm leaning with them in the points tonight. I got a lot of more time to look at this one. Hamilton's got to be good. Williams has played better for UNLV. If those guys score tonight, both score over at least 15 apiece, I think they're in this basketball game. Because like I said, it's Bradley and nothing else for San Diego State. But San Diego State is at home, and they play great defense there. So it should be low scoring, and I think 10's too many, 10.5. What do you think in this game? You on mute? You on mute? Can you hear me?
Alex, you're on mute.
You're on mute, brother.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
I was going to say Boise State's defense pretty improved. I think we got to start giving them credit for that. And I think that with SDSU, Trey Pulliam, very disappointing. I've watched a little bit of that game, and I saw him turn the ball over 3 times. I think
You might not be right. Like, he might not be healthy, it seems like.
Yeah, and
So,
that's where I was going to go next, is that
Okay.
neither of these teams seem to be healthy. Like Donovan Williams is definitely questionable today. There's a couple other guys that are questionable on the UNLV side. And then with SDSU, like, they got injury issues of their own. They're already going to be missing Adam Psycho. Who else are they going to be missing? Freaking probably Chad Baker, the Duquesne transfer. That's not good. I think that this is a spot where, you have to take the points, even though it's UNLV on the road.
Yeah, totally agree. That's it for me, Max. Shout out to the chat. Roland G, Real Deal Prime, Daryl Turner, what's up? Nikki Fish Tanks, Brian Stumbo, what's up, my man? Arthur Mead Jr. in the house. Arthur, good to see you. My guy up in here. He said, J Money said, Max is crazy. You're a crazy Max. But that's it. Let's get to the rest of the games, Max. I think we can touch them all here. So let's get a word from our sponsors. Hit us in the chat with the questions. What games you want us to go through here? So let's get to the commercials. Go if you're in the San Antonio area, go to Southtown 101, best bar in the business. Get drunk, sing some karaoke, get some burgers, wings, get there. Go to mybookie.ag at promo code PubSports. You got to use the Bitcoin though. Transfer the Bitcoin, you put 1,000, they give you 1,000. And go to manscaped.com, 20% off. Get the lawnmower 4.0, but fuck that. Don't just get the lawnmower 4.0. Get everything, the whole kit and caboodle that comes with it. Go to pubsportsradio.com, cop the pub rub, get it seasoned. Your meats, chicken, brisket, ribs, all that good shit. And while you're there, cop a Pub Sorts Radio t-shirt while you're at pubsortsradio.com. All right, Max, let's get to the rest of the games. Delaware, Towson, excellent game here. Delaware laying a 1.5, total 140. What do you like here?
I got nothing on the side that I bet. I did bet the under in the game, and I'm going to probably bet Delaware, even though some of their wins have looked better than they have actually been. And I do worry about their ability that can they put Towson away if they get out to an early lead. I like the talent on both sides. I just think that if the Blue Hens shoot the lights out and have Andrew Carr and Dylan Painter have outlier type games, that could be the difference.
Excellent. Shout out Arthur. Max went over that game. Go back to it, but I like the points with San Diego. Max likes the team total. What, 67.5, right, Max?
Yes,
with
sir.
San Diego. He likes the over with San Diego's team total. But looking at that game just a little bit, I'm going to dig into some more. I'm liking the 9 points with San Diego a tad bit in that one. So, yeah, that's my lean there. All right, Justin T wants to know, Seton Hall, -7. You think they could cover here against St. John's?
That's a pass.
I don't know either. Here, real quick, I'll go over it. I wanted more points. St. John's on the roads, and they haven't played their best basketball as of late. So, and I either at Seton Hall, to tell you the truth. So that was a pass for me as well. I want no part of that one. How about this one, Max? Tell me what about Florida Ole Miss? You like anything here? This has come down to 4.5. Florida laying it on the road. Do you think they can go on the road and cover here?
Well, listen, Colin Castleton is out. It didn't really hurt them the first game. I think that when you look at Florida, it's eventually going to catch up with them. This would be a really good opportunity in a road game, a true road game. And obviously, you guys know my philosophy when it comes to Mike White teams. I don't trust them. So I don't trust them as a favorite. It's Ole Miss or pass for me.
I agree. And missed out on it, if I caught the 6.
Even
It's down to 4.
But
Yeah,
even if you did miss out on it, there's always the first half money line that's going to give you a good feeling of what's going on in the game. And we see these first half dogs, especially at home, do a good job of cashing.
Very true. Very, very true. All right, let's get to Young Speedy 33 wants to get Norfolk State, Morgan State. Morgan State's laying 7.5. Did you like anything there?
Yeah, listen, I think that Morgan State is just not the same team without Malik Miller and those 8 rebounds that he grabs, and he is a 6'4" guard. I think that Datorian Ware obviously has the ability to take over a game and lead a team. However, we're just not seeing that 30-point performance. With Norfolk State, there's just so much talent in and out of that lineup. They have serviceable depth. And when you can bring Christian Ings, Jalen Hawkins, Joe Bryant as your trio in the backcourt, you can cover numbers that are under 10 at home. This is a Norfolk State game for me. It may not be pretty early. However, like the Morgan State game where they faded against Howard, I do think the same thing will happen here.
Alrighty, Belmont, Eastern Illinois. They're laying 25 max. This total's moved up to 138.5, 139. Anything here, side or total?
Yeah, this isn't something that I'm going to be betting from a full game perspective. I will take a shot with Belmont as a first half favorite to see how they match up with Eastern Illinois. Obviously, Eastern Illinois has shown an ability to go over and has shown an ability that they can score, where we were talking shit probably 2 weeks ago that they could barely score 55. So they are done slurping cock soup on offense, and they could be a live underdog team total to grab. And I'm sure that if you're getting under 64 points with them, that may be something to look into. I have to look into it more, that's for sure.
Excellent. How about this game, Max? Howard laying 2.5 to Coppin State. Did you have anything in that one?
Yeah, listen, I think that this Howard team is playing a little for Wayne Bristol, who's definitely out for the year, maybe transferring also. I think that at the end of the day, Elijah Hawkins with his fantastic free throw shooting and Steven Settle can take care of this shit for this team. If you have Randy Brumant and company be able to provide that balance and scoring, I don't see why Howard can't go on the road against this Coppin State team. I think that if Coppin State was a 5.5 or 6 point underdog, then I'd be more likely to back them. However, this team just does not score like the one last year. They're barely averaging 67 points a game. They have picked it up in conference, going over that, I believe, in 4 straight. I think that there is definitely value for points being scored. At the end of the day, though, I don't think Howard's going to lose, and I think Howard at this number is good value.
Okay, how about this one, Max? Joe wants to know, Weber State plus 2.5 looks juicy against Southern Utah. This total is 155, but it probably gets there. I don't love going this high with totals, but I think with both these teams, it could get over. What do you think here? Side or total, anything in this one?
Yeah, this is a really good game to bet live. I don't have anything on it pregame. I think that it's a tough line. I think it's perfectly lined. I would not jump to backing Southern Utah, while Southern Utah definitely has Tevian Jones and John Knight who can take over a game. John Knight, obviously, with that fantastic red hair. I do think on the other side, this is why they brought in so many transfers like Jamison Overton from Utah Valley and Kobe McEwen from freaking Marquette. This is the game that they needed for. This is a Battle of Utah game, and for me, I would tend to agree. If you gave me a free bet, I would take Weber. And I'd even take Weber on the first half money line. See if they can get out to a big lead. Try to arbitrage the game.
Excellent. How about this one, Max? 2 teams kind of struggling. Virginia Tech, North Carolina. North Carolina's laying 4.5, total 141.5.
It is really hard to ignore or see the contrast between North Carolina wins and losses. And I am seeing a win tonight. I think that this could be an absolute dominant performance. Now with North Carolina having Hubert Davis at the helm, we're seeing a better three-point shooting team. We're seeing a better skilled backcourt offensive team than we've seen the last couple years with North Carolina. I think that when you look at Armando Bacot, him against Keve Aluma is going to be a key matchup. However, when you have Dawson Garcia and Brady Manick to provide support, those are experienced, talented kids, and I think that that's going to be the difference. Justin Mutz is going to have to play out of his body. I don't think he's capable. And with Virginia Tech not having the kind of depth North Carolina does, I think North Carolina wins the game.
Yeah, it seems like a good spot for them, but I don't want anything to do with that one. Eastern Washington laying 5.5 versus Idaho State. I think the total is 142.5. Anything here?
Yeah, this is why I like the over. I think that, yes, we've seen Eastern Washington play a lot of under basketball. I think that in this matchup, if Idaho State is pretty healthy, which they've obviously had big issues staying healthy, I think that they give Eastern Washington a good game. I don't know why Eastern Washington can't get to freaking 75 plus in this game, and I don't know why Idaho State can't get to 70. At home, this is where I want to back them. This is where I like them more, and I think that this is a game that finds its way over. I'm going against what's been working, and what's been working for a lot of people is betting Eastern Washington unders. I'm not going to be on that train today, though.
Excellent, Ryan. So that's my lean in that game. I don't know if Max, you like Western Illinois. I'm on the over. I lean South Dakota a little bit +6. Did you have anything there?
Yeah, I think that if South Dakota was at home, I'd be all over South Dakota, but South Dakota on the road and South Dakota at home are two different people. I think that Western Illinois definitely has to show me in the first half that they're deserving of my action, and that's the way I would play it.
How about this Morgan State? Murray State. Do Murray State first. You like them today? The over?
Yeah, with Murray State, I think that it's all about what you're going to get for as far as a team total on them. I think against Tennessee Tech has decent size up front with Ciala, Shannon Goldman and company. I think that when you look at Tennessee Tech, the question's always going to be, is Junior Clay and Keyshawn Davidson first off going to be in the lineup, and are they going to be healthy enough to provide that scoring that you're going to need? On the Murray State side, it's always a question of whether or not they can get past 85. I think that anything below that is decent value with this team against most of the competition in the Missouri Valley Conference. I think that the ultra defensive games that we're going to see Murray State play are going to be against the teams like Belmont, against Morehead State. Those are where I think that Murray State's best served playing defensive basketball. Against Tennessee Tech, they can score against them all day. So 80 or 81.5 seems like a good team total number, and that's the way I'd look at it.
All right, Norfolk's laying 7.5 to Morgan State. What about the total? It's moved up a couple points to 149. Do you have anything here?
Yeah, listen, I think that Morgan State's conference output has definitely shown us that they can get games into the 150s, and with it opening at 147.5 and going up to 149.5 or 150, I do think that there's still a bit of value taking the over in this game.
Excellent. How about Loyola Maryland, Colgate? Colgate's laying 11.5 here. Anything in that one?
It's really hard not to notice the fact that Colgate's offense is looking fantastic with the change in the starting lineup from Jeff Woodward to Keegan Records. Don't get me wrong, Woodward gives you a lot of defense and rebounding rim protection, but Records can give you that stuff with versatility and athleticism on offense. I think that since they've made the move, they've won 3 straight games, kept all 3 opponents under 60 points, and it's really hard not to see them being able to manhandle this Loyola Maryland team on their home floor. I think that obviously when we look at the backcourt, Nelly Cummings has to be the catalyst, but Tucker Richardson, that's a guy that's experienced and been there and done it all before for this team. So if Colgate wants to win this game and they bring out their best shooting, I think that it's going to be hard for Loyola Maryland to freaking keep up with them. From a number value perspective, it's hard for me to pull the trigger on an 11-point favorite in the Patriot League.
Yeah, I totally agree. Words right out of my mouth. Boston College, Wake. And you lay the points here with Wake? 10.5.
I think that if Brevin Galloway isn't in the lineup, I like it a lot better. I think that they had their best game. They had their home game against Vodtech. I think that this is a situation now where they have a letdown, and you're going up against a Wake team that when you go into that building, you better fuck with your eyes open. Otherwise, you're getting a fucking peanut butter sandwich in your ass.
All right. Peanut butter sandwich in the ass. Don't want it. ASU, USC. SC's coming off the good trip for Colorado, Utah. Back here, they're laying 12. Totals 134.5. Any late night action here, Max, in this going? Pac-12.
I'm sure that I'll degen bet it. I think that the spot that I looked at that I have written down that I want to line shop for would be the first half over. I want to see Arizona play an offensive game. I want to see USC and these guys go a little back and forth. And at 3.1 points per minute, I think that is something that is reasonable. However, I don't trust it. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm a degenerate gambler. I'm going to end up betting it. So Arizona State and Cal, please score 64 points in the first half for me. Thank you very much.
Get it done. How about Texas Southern? They're laying 11 to Alabama State. Anything in this one?
I think that with Texas State, with Alabama State and Texas Southern, Alabama State's going to have to deal with the size that Texas Southern has. Alabama State's also going to have to really push the tempo. They're going to have to give them a completely different opponent than what they just saw and routed in Alabama A&M. And I think that definitely gets mixed in translation when it comes to what these numbers come out at. I think Alabama State definitely has the better coaching with Mo Williams. And I think that when you look at Alabama State, it's all about getting good defense from this team. They got to be able to score and then score off your missed shots. They got to be able to turn you over and score off those turnovers. If they don't get those extra opportunities to put points on the board, then Texas Southern probably has a good chance of running them out of the building. However, with the number being what it is, being double digits, I got to look towards Alabama State.
Okay, what about this one? Can Grambling State cover the 9.5 versus Arkansas Pine Bluff? Total 138.
I think so. I haven't bet it. Yeah. I think that with Grambling, they definitely have the firepower to do so. The question really is, which are we going to see with Arkansas Pine Bluff? Are we going to see Jekyll or are we going to see Hyde?
Yeah, I agree. I don't want any part of it. Let's get to a big one here, Max. You mentioned the total Virginia, Louisville. Louisville's laying 5 here. You talked about the total 123 now, basically everywhere. There's even some 122.5s. Would you have anything in this one?
I want to take the over, but it's Virginia, and it's Virginia at home.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I'm not touching the side. I don't want anything to do with either of these teams. I don't think Virginia should be a 5-point favorite. So if you do give me a line on it, I am going to freaking take Louisville for free, but I'm not going to actually put my own fucking money on that shit. That's just not happening. I want to take the over. It's one of these short 120 lines. And like I say to like a lot of other people, I'm like, it's just so hard for me to not look at a 120 total and think that it's not going over. So
Virginia, though.
I may be brainwashed by freaking hand jobs from under the bridge, but like, it is what it is.
How about this one, Max? St. Joe's, Georgia Mason, they're laying 7. This total's 138.5. What do you have here?
Well, listen, I think that with St. Joe's, it's their performance is completely dependent on what you get from Taylor Funk and Jordan Hall. I think on the George Mason side, I like how this team is coached. I like the fact that they're coming off a hard-fought win against Dayton, but I'm still seeing the same offensive problems, and that's just not going to freaking work. If this team can't get into the 70s tonight, it makes it a very difficult job to win and cover this type of number. I'm impressed by what we've seen developmental-wise from Devontae Gaines and Josh Odoro. They've really taken over this team and have allowed Deshaun Schwartz and Devon Cooper to really be complementary pieces. they're at their best when they don't have to go to their bench. And if they don't have to go to their bench and they can run these guys out for 35 plus minutes, then yeah, Mason's going to freaking win and cover. If that doesn't happen, St. Joe's going to give them a fight for their life. I think that this is a game that I'd rather attack the total. I'd rather take an over in.
Yeah, for sure. Someone mentioned in the chat, I'll get to the Mississippi Valley Southern. Southern's laying 20.5 now, most places. Do you have anything on that one, Max?
Yeah, listen, I think that with Southern, we know how good their offense is against SWAC competition. The big question in this game is who's available for Mississippi Valley State. If Mississippi Valley State does not have Robert Carpenter in the lineup, you're taking away 17 points per game. You're talking about a guy that can get inside against most Division I front courts and score the basketball, something that the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils have problems with. And I just think that without him, I think we see another type freaking blowout. Southern is going to win this game, no doubt. They are not going to fall prey like Prairie View did. I think at the end of the day, they got to get to the free throw line. They're a 70% free throw shooting team, but the 3-point shot is their best friend. If they're not BFFs with that shit, then it's problematic. I don't think Mississippi Valley State's going to score threes because we know what 3-point defense they have.
Excellent. Yeah, we talked about the game. Max and I like UT Martin a little bit at home. Max, real quick.
Oh, yeah, definitely
well?
UT Martin. UT Martin,
Yeah.
Healthy UT Martin?
Okay, let's hit this one real quick. The last one on top. Tennessee State, Moorhead. Moorhead's laying 13. Totals come down to 136.5. Anything here?
Yeah, listen, I'm getting on the over in this game.
Okay.
I don't care about this bullshit about fucking Moorhead being an under team. That is last year. That is not this year. This Moorhead team, we know what they have personnel wise. They got the best big man on the floor in John A. Broom. And when you got a guy like that who's destined for the NBA and can give you a 20 and something type game, that's the kind of guy that I want to back behind at home. This is a route spot for Moorhead State, in my opinion. They are just on a different level. While I do like Tennessee State in certain situations at certain numbers, they're going to be very reliant on Marcus Fitzgerald, on freaking Dedrick Boyd, on Kenny Cooper. These guys are going to have outlier type games. And if they don't get off more than freaking 60 shot attempts against Moorhead, well, it's going to be freaking a bloodbath. At the end of the day, this Moorhead State team is more improved offensively with Jake Wolf and Trey Hollowell in the lineup. And Skylar Potter is a very confident mid-range scorer at the Ohio Valley Conference level. So it's all Moorhead for me, and it's an over spot once again because I am not playing these goddamn unders with Moorhead anymore. I do not think that they're that defensive team.
Yeah. How about this one, Max? I had nothing on this one. Sacramento, Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona is actually laying 3.5 here at home. Total 134.5.
Yeah, this is a freaking Sacramento State spot. I know Sacramento State freaking blew that game against Idaho, losing by 1, pretty heartbreaking fashion. But the fact that Bryce Fowler got them to overtime in the first place is something to really freaking be freaking proud of. I think at the end of the day, Zach Chappelle and William Fitzpatrick have to lead this team. And with Bryce Fowler, we know that they're going to run that high post offense with him at the top of it. He's going to make or break, but he's got to get some support out of this team. And when I look at a guy that really can freaking stand out and give you something, hopefully we're looking at freaking Marcus Green. This is a kid that definitely has some talent. I just hasn't seen the results yet. And that's what the Sacramento State team needs. They need depth. If they get some depth scoring tonight, they're going to pull out the outright win. I'm not laying points on Northern Arizona at home, even in this matchup.
Yeah, no way. How about this one, Max? Interesting. Longwood versus Hampton. 7.5. Some places 8. Some other places the total's up 132.5. Anything in this one?
Yeah, listen, it's hard not to look at Hampton at this type of number, coming off an outright win with really good performances against Radford, NCAA, and Gardner Webb, all losing efforts. They've been freaking helping their freaking people, and their 3-point defense is top 10 in the nation right now. The problem is they just can't score the ball a lick. If they get to 60 points, it's like, let's buy a cake and let's have it like it's a birthday for somebody. And looking at this personnel, Marquise Goodwin is able to come off the bench and give you something. It just hasn't been able to. I think getting Dejor Dickens back in the lineup is a big boost to the front court, having a 7-footer with his rim protection skills. But you're going to need freaking Najee Garvin and Russell Dean to lead this team offensively. And I just cannot trust that on a game-to-game basis. I think that Longwood is an interesting piece, at least first half. And that's the way that I'm looking to attack it.
Yeah, I just don't want to lay 8 on the road with them. I think they're the better team. All right, we're running out of time. Big Show, how many games do I have left? You want to rapid fire these last ones?
We got about 7 or 8. That's fine. Yeah, I'll roll through them, starting from the top. Boys.
Let's rip it. Okay. Go ahead,
man. Jacksonville State, absolutely.
Yeah, Jacksonville State for me as well in that one.
Oh, I'm definitely looking at Maine to be a fucking thorn in somebody's side. Yes, Maine.
Pass. I want nothing to do with that.
Oh. It's a tale of two halves. Alcorn gets out to a lead. Bethune-Cookman comes back and sticks a goddamn ice pick in their freaking jugular.
Bethune-Cookman. I take the points at home with them if I had to bet this one.
Oh, yeah. Tracy Carter, baby. 7th or 8th year, maybe 10th year. He's the difference. And Austin Williams is back. Don't fuck with Hartford.
I like the under a little bit, but it's come down the point, from down to here to 137.5, and I had nothing on the side.
Oh, Florida A&M. Please. Thank you. Give me it.
Yeah, I lean Florida A&M as well. Here at home, you're just getting a pick 'em -1. I think they can handle business.
Oh, line was best when it came out for North Carolina Central. At this point, you got to go with Maryland Eastern Shore with a 3-point line move.
I agree. There's even a few spots that have 3.5s. Yeah, I'd be on the home dog here.
Prairie View better freaking come to play because Alabama A&M will draw them into a rock fight and then could beat them. So, got to look to live bet that game. No pregame side.
Just pass for me. No way in hell am I laying 6.5 with Prairie View.
Last one, boys. Last one.
Well, I'll say this. Portland State, they're confident, but it only usually lasts about 10 minutes of game time, and then they fold like a folding chair. So definitely not going to be back in those sluts.
Yeah, I can't bet Portland State. They just disappointed all year long. This was a quick cross-off for me. All right. That is it, Max. We have gotten through them all. Daryl, we went through the Winthrop game. That was one of mine. You can go back. Max, did you really have a lean on anything in that?
Yeah, I think that high points got to be the spot with Winthrop on the road.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, if you go back, if I had 5.5 there, that'd be a full bet for me with High Point. God, that line's sharp at 3.5. I still lean them pretty strong there. All right, Max, let's get to it. Shout out to the chat, everyone in here. Raymond, Nick, Banana Grapes, what's up, my man? Good to see you. Rem Most, Rara Murray, what's up, my man? Perfect Rotation, Molly Mo, Lance LaRose up in here. Real Deal Prime. Shout out to everyone. Jake Burns, Joey Collier, everyone in here. Dominic, Bob Taylor, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. Hector, Nasty Nate in the building. Shout out to everyone. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. That's all we ask for is a goddamn like. Nothing else. All right, Max, give me your best bet. Give a last word to the chat. I will give mine, and we'll get out and out of here.
All right, guys, it's that time for that lousy fucking parlay. I know you guys all look for it and despise as much as I do, but I gotta fucking do what I gotta do. So I'm going with the 3-team money line parlay. Don't hate my guts. I'm taking Norfolk State on the money line. I'm taking South Carolina State on the money line. And I'm taking those Hubert Davis, North Carolina Tar Heels. Don't break my goddamn heart. Let me see you play a winner. Plus 139, 3-teamer. That is the best bet.
Okay. All right.
And Connor,
yep.
with my last word to the chat, I'll say this. Nick, I think that you owe me 3 appearances to amaze me with your Miller Lite skills. It is missed. It has left a void in my goddamn heart. So come fill the void, Nick. Bring some Miller Lights. Show them how Stone Cold Steve Austin does it in Florida.
Goddamn. All right. Let's get to it. Wilmington, Northeastern shoots the rock better today. I got over 132. South Dakota, Western Illinois, over 148. It dropped, and I don't give a shit. I'm on the over. The High Point game, Winthrop High Point. I just need more with High Point. It's just a lean at 3.5, and I'm taking UNLV plus the 10.5. I also think that game stays under later tonight. All right, Max, that is it. Let's get the hell out of here. You ready to bounce?
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the chat. We be pubbing, Pub Sports Radio. He's the great Maxwell Smart. I'm Conor Mack. We be pubbing! Peace.